Yeah.
What's your method for dealing with competition from other guys in that game?
Competition. What's competition? What?
Yeah, like Mr. Locario, you are so in your own universe of things. I
Saying,
love it. You're in your own universe with like your own definitions and stuff. I would
saying.
love to explore how your world is working because that's somewhat relatable to me. But yeah.
Oh, no, I'll see how y'all talk about it. I'm trying to learn. I'm like competing for a chick. Is that what we
No, we'll
talking
teach you, bro. We'll teach you. So I think the
about?
first thing guys need to understand is I assume he's worried about people or men coming into his set. So he's talking to a girl and then like someone else coming in. I think the first thing you need to be aware of is how it looks from the outside. So if you look like you're getting receptiveness of a couple of like hot girls and you're not appearing very attractive or very dominant, a lot of guys will see this and be like, if this guy can talk to him, fuck, these girls might be easy. I'm going to go talk to him too. So you need to have a dynamic in the interaction where you're looking a little bit more masculine, you're looking a little bit more dominant as you speak to the girls, or it looks really obvious that these girls are chasing you. So something like old school, like being locked in and the girls kind of facing you and talking to you. So that's the first thing. If you notice this is happening a lot, it's probably the way it looks from the outside. Now, two, if they do come in and they do say something, you want to take control right away. If it's obvious that this is some guy that doesn't know the girls, like maybe he comes up and he's like, hey, I think you're cute or something. I just put my finger up and I'll be like, hey, bro, 1 second. And then usually the guy just waits there and then you keep talking to the girl. Now it does look really chasey if he has to come in again. Hey, bro, just hang on 1 second. Just let me finish. And then he has to come in again. It's just going to look really chasey. And then at some point you look to the girl and be like, do you know this guy? She's like, no. And you're like, bro, like, go away. Right? We're talking. Now, that's one thing you can do. Be careful because if this is a friend, okay, this is like the girl's fucking gay best friend or some shit, or like her brother. And then you're like, bro, 1 second, you're really rude to him. You just fuck the interaction because she's always going to choose him. So if you're unsure, the guy comes in, hey, do you guys know each other? No. Okay, 1 second. And then you can go from there. So yeah, basically summarize, look more confident in your set. Find out who the guy is. If it's just a random, tell him to wait. And then you can keep talking to the girl.
All right.
That's a good
Markus?
explanation. I think with you said how to deal with competition. I guess this is from a cold approach perspective, from a social circle perspective. Literally every guy that you surround yourself with, all your friends should be not competition, but should be so high level that it makes you strive to be the best version of yourself. I think a lot of the time guys want to be like, oh, how do I get? It's like there'll always be other, as I said. There's always, I tweeted about this the other day. There's always someone that's taller, richer, stronger, more good looking than you. It's your ability has to be defined your edge. The thing that makes you more different than anybody out there. And so I think a lot of guys that have this, they don't know what their edge is. They don't know what sets them apart. And I think um, uh, if you start to really hone this skill, you'll get to the mindset where there's no other competition because you know exactly what you bring to the table per se or who you are as a person. So I think a lot of time these guys are having this competition, and again, if it's already registering in your head, a lot of the time, then you automatically have fallen into the frame that they are better than you. When really, in fact, if you're on your shit, you don't really give a fuck. And I remember something that Bill Zerian was talking about, which was that a girl's got to also, a girl that you're seeing has to also handle her shit as well. You can't be responsible for every like 50 guys trying to hit on that girl. She's got to have some sort of responsibility to be able to, if she's with you, to be able to, defend them. You also have to have the ability and be the leader to also cut things off that need to be cut off as well. So it's kind of a two-way street in that. If it's going to the cold approach style, what Marcus said was right on the money.
Yeah, I don't really, I guess I don't believe in competition because like I know I like Big Macs and I never got a Big Mac from Burger King, Wendy's, In-N-Out Burger. I gotta go to McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? So if I like Big Macs, there's only one place I could go. So if a chick like this Big Mac, she got to come here. So I just don't even worry about that. So I've been in situations where I'm talking to a girl in a spot, and then another guy comes into the conversation. I bring the guy into the conversation. All three of us are talking, and I can tell the guy is interested in the girl. I'll walk away. I'll be like, hey, you guys should get together. You know, you guys seem cute, and I'll walk away a lot of times. And so what happens is that the girl, if she's interested in me, sometimes she might find me. You know what I'm saying? After she finished talking to this dude. So it's like I don't really engage in that. I'm just doing my thing, and I'm not really worried about him, her, or none of that shit. I'm just not.
Yeah, that's the ideal situation to be in. You know, when you're saying you don't really worry and you walk away and you've got the abundance to be able to say you guys look like you would get on well. That's the ideal. But for guys who are taking girls out their cold approach and they're worried about the competition, it's like you've got to commit yourself to being as non-reactive as possible, because the guy that's reacting is the one that's going to lose the attraction. The person who looks more concerned and more serious and more in need is the one who's going to lose the girl. So when the alpha comes over and he's highly confident and he's sexually communicating, if that's affecting you, but even if the girl is showing that guy signs of attraction, you've got to make a commitment that you're not going to react to that. You're not going to get defensive, because if you do, you're going to lose her. And you've got to have it within yourself to focus on. Your mind is going to get paranoid, and your mind is going to think that just because this guy is getting attraction off the girl, he's going to end up taking her away. But you've got to assume that if you've had a connection with her and you're getting physical and you're having a nice conversation, you've got to assume that she's into you, and be as non-reactive as possible. Because if you show weakness and you show signs that it's affecting you, that guy is going to, it's going to be a trade-off between the two of you. And if that guy sees that he's getting to you, and the fact that he's busting and he's trying to amog you is like affected you, that's going to temporarily validate him and cause him to be more confident, which is going to enable him to be more charismatic around that girl. So your job is to just focus on you having fun, being non-reactive, and be willing to lose that girl. You know, have the mindset that your focus when you're in that club, when you're in that bar and you're talking to that girl, the number one focus is not getting or keeping that girl. It's having a great time and getting in that expressive mood, because that's going to aid you in when that woman looks around. If she can see that you're not in that reactive state, she's more likely to stay with you rather than move on to another guy. Because women are comparing. They're looking at which guy cares the less, which guy's the most confident, which guy's having the most fun. So if you're letting that stifle you, you're letting that cause you to feel insecure, she's going to notice that. That's when you're going to lose her.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Dean as well as Marcus and Locario. So the thing is, but I do have a question though. Why would you want to leave halfway if you're talking to a girl that you're interested in and she seems to be interested in you, just because the guy comes over? Why would you want to leave out of the conversation?
Oh, I
Is
mean,
that-
I just do it 'cause, like I just like I don't care. Like I don't like okay, so basically if a dude is like I can tell when the guy is interested in a girl. So I'll be like, you get her because there's a billion other girls I could talk to. Like I'm not attached to this woman at all. It's like, but I see he's really into her. So in a lot of times I'm not really into a woman until she showed me consistent cooperation anyway. So that hasn't happened, so she means nothing to me at this point. So what I'm saying is that because he's so excited, I'll be like, hey, go do what you got to do. Now, so what'll happen sometimes is she may not be interested in him like that, and she might be interested in me. So then if she comes back, I might entertain it and then continue to talk to her. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that I kind of like I can tell he's more interested in her than I'm interested in her. So I'm like, why would I be trying to keep getting at her when I know he wants her more? Like, it don't even make any sense. Like, take her. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't give a shit. So that's kind of like my attitude with it. You know what I mean?
Hmm. But what if that happens a lot, right? You go to the next girl and then someone else comes over. You can't just go home by
I can do
yourself.
I can
Try to
I can do
just
that
leave,
all
right?
night. I can do that all night. There's a billion women in the club outside.
Well,
You
not
know,
necessarily. Not necessarily. There are clubs where
Not the
there might be
attractive
only
ones,
like
yeah.
5 or 10, and it might be later on in the night, and it might be say like 12:30. The club closes at 1. What are you gonna? I'm just understanding. Is this something that you would do later on in the night? Like, let's just say you had a time period, right? You've been chatting with her. They got about 20 minutes. They're not that much trying to build a massive amount of,
yeah,
just social capital with a new girl.
Yeah, but I talk to a girl for like 2 minutes, and if she down, if she ain't, then I move on. But the thing is, I have like,
How many girls do you talk to per night, if that's the case?
like it depends. If I go to, like, let's say I might talk to one girl, and that one girl is ready, and I just go. I
So
might
what time's that? Like, what's an average? Like, you
like
go out
probably
there at 10 and
probably like,
10:02, you got
yeah.
the
So like I
girl.
get there, I get there at 10, and then I talk to her for maybe like 5 minutes, 10:05. You feel what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Listen, let's get the fuck up out of here, and then she'll go with me. You see what I'm saying?
And what if the first thing's like, which is a pushback, like, oh, well, I came here like with 5 friends, I just can't leave, and we just got here like 5 minutes ago.
And then I'll
But
sell her.
which is a
Right,
genuine, which is just a genuine thing. That's just a human being thing. You like, if you came with 5 friends, you wouldn't just ditch them after
right.
five
And I'll
minutes.
just give her my number and say, hey, well, holler at me later tonight or whatever, and then talk to another girl. So what I'm saying is, there's an abundance of women. So either if I'm fucking with a girl in the club, cool. If I don't, girl outside, cool. If not, I got 10, 15 girls on the phone. You feel what I'm saying? Like if I really wanted to make something happen that night. So what I'm saying is, I'm not holding on to any one particular girl or any one particular situation because I don't care, because I know I'm gonna make whatever I want to make happen. That's why I don't really like, that's why I don't try to deal with women who resist, because I know there's
So
a
what
bunch
what
who won't.
what if it's like a date? What do you do with the date situations where she's like, I gotta work? I'm
Oh,
sorry, but she lists
like,
another date. She lists another date, but like, I gotta work. I'm sorry, I can't.
you
But
talking
then she
about,
lists another date.
you
Yeah,
talking
just
about,
like a date. So if we take it away from the club more to the date scenario, what's the kind of the mind frame there, the mindset?
oh, so if I'm actually on a date with a woman.
No, no, no. Like, you're trying to set up a date. Obviously, you got the girl 5 minutes, she's with her friends, and
Mhm.
then later the next day you're chatting and you're like, let's do this. And then she's like, I can't do that. I got work on, but we could do it this day.
Oh yeah,
Is
I'll just,
that are you
yeah.
are you seeing that as like, because they could be seen as like, that's not 100% full commitment. Like, for
Oh, they
some
got,
cultures, they're like, they want the girl to take that day off work to go see them, and that's
no,
100%
no,
submission.
no, no, no. So what I'm saying is that I'll pick a day that we're both free, and then
Mhm.
I want her to come through that day. Now, if I pick that day and we're free and she's free and she's being resistant to that, meaning, let's say I say, you free Friday, and then she says, well, yeah, but I don't really feel like coming out Friday because I'm just gonna stay in and like chill. Nah, we're done. But if she's like,
Yeah, I
oh,
mean, listen, everything Locario does is basically a fallback of protecting ego, avoiding rejection.
it's
So
not
if a
about
guy comes up
ego.
and
That's
talks
what I'm
to his
saying. It's
girl,
not about ego. That's what I'm
no,
trying to
let me explain. Let me explain. So if a guy comes up and talks to your girl, if you stay in, you're trying, right? It's way more effort to amorg a guy, get rid of a guy. If this guy's really, really into the girl and you're staying, that means you're also really, really into the girl. That has
Why?
to feel. So you walk
I
away.
don't care.
If
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, I wish I could show you how much I don't care. That's what I'm
But
trying to
that's
say.
the problem. That's the problem. You convince yourself you don't care, so
No,
then
no, but
there's
I
no
don't.
hurt. There's no rejection. If you don't care, you never get rejected. That's
Bro,
that's
I get
the thing you're
rejected
doing.
all the time. I get rejected all the time. I'm saying
But you don't care because you never tried, right? This look, when I used to be in school, I never fucking studied because if I failed that exam, guess what? It didn't matter. I didn't really study for the exam. There's an excuse there. If you
well,
never try with a goal, you never really fail,
so
right? That's the problem here.
trying is going up and
Sorry,
approaching and
guys. I love
talking.
you.
Right? That's what I'm saying. It's going up and talking and then say, hey, let's exchange numbers. He says, actually, I'm not interested. Boom, we're done. I already
And what do you
tried.
tell yourself? I'm curious. What do you tell yourself? What's your mindset right there? So you go up, you say, hey, you're sexy. She goes, not interested. What do you tell yourself?
Nothing. I just walk away.
No, there's something. What do you tell yourself? How do you describe that situation? What's the narrative there?
That's what I'm saying. There's nothing.
The
Either she,
narrative is I don't give a fuck anyway. That's the narrative. The
like, I
narrative is
don't give
like
a
I never even
fuck.
liked, I never even wanted
I
to
don't.
approach her
That's what I'm
anyway.
saying.
I
I
don't
don't
even
give a
care.
fuck.
The
That's what I'm saying.
narrative.
I don't give a fuck if it goes either way. I'm good.
Exactly.
That's
You're
what I'm
protecting
telling
your ego. Is all it
you.
is. It's protecting ego.
Not
I
ego.
think I'm understanding where Mr. Locario is coming from.
It's
So
not
I
ego.
remember a few guys, maybe, and I said this before, maybe it's more of like an African game thing because I remember guys. No, follow me on this. Just bear with me. I'm a fucking redneck. It's different. But I remember in London, I would see these guys and they would have a similar strategy. They're going to women and they're not messing around. I don't know how to explain it, but that would basically have these minor interactions, and then they would dismiss those interactions and just move on until something
Nope,
hits
didn't matter
in
anyway.
a more
Yeah.
easy way. But I don't think it's an ego thing, but merely they're just looking for the one who will
Cooperate.
come quickly. Yeah, I
So basically,
suppose.
so I understand. So Marcus, because the reason why you don't understand, I think, is because you give a shit about the women. I only give a shit about the women once they're following my lead. That's the only time I give a shit about a woman.
Maybe it's
Okay.
not the
It's
women,
not
but the
the.
interaction
All
more
right.
so.
I'm curious. I'm curious. If you had a student, okay, if you had a student that um would go up to like most girls and he was just not building attraction, okay, and he tries to be confident and he tries to fix his fashion and he's just not building attraction, okay. I'm curious. Like, what advice would you give this guy? I'm curious.
What does it mean to build attraction?
He's okay. Let's not use attraction. Let's use compliance. He goes up to these girls and he's not getting compliance. So the girls just don't really seem interested. They kind of give like some one word answers. They kind of are just like a little bit dismissive. Like, it's not always like a super harsh rejection, but like maybe he gets into like 5 minute interactions with some girls and they're like, oh, we're going to go with our friends now. Like, I'm curious, like, what advice would you give this guy?
So it depends. So if he's getting those reactions based on the fact that he's nervous to approach women and he's muffling his
No, he's
words
not nervous. He's
down,
not nervous.
so he's confident he's doing everything that he needs to do right, right?
Well, he's not doing everything he needs to do, right? He's confident enough. Like he's not like crippled with AA and like hello, but he's going up and he's having like platonic conversations. They're average, right? Average looking dude, and like most average guys with average confidence and average skill, it's not going that well. Would your advice be more confident and come off as more charismatic? I'm curious. Like, what do you tell this guy?
Right. So what I would do is I would need to see where he's deficient in his skill and then help him with that skill. Once he's become better at the skill, then what will happen is that now it's time to find the women who cooperate. So what I don't do is I don't see is shout out to my this is my dude Steve Dedeen. He talks about it. He says one way, one mind. So there's no switching up, changing, pretending, being something you're not for a woman, period. You see what I'm saying? So what it is that this is who I am. This is how I do shit. You either with it or you're not. Now, if you're with it, then we could continue. If you're not, then I ain't fucking with you. It's that
That's
simple.
me then.
Good.
That's me.
Okay, hold up.
I agree with what these guys were saying about if a girl's giving you a shit test, it doesn't mean that she's medium interest. In fact, if a girl's particularly hot and she gets approached a lot, she needs to make sure that that guy is the real deal. So when he's approaching her, she needs to, even when you're on a date, if a girl's asking questions, that's a shit test in a way because she wants to find out about you. So if she's giving you shit tests to make you prove yourself, to show that you are actually that confident guy that she hopes that you are, that's not like medium interest. That's actually high interest because she wants to solidify and verify that you are the guy that she's about to invest in. A shit test really is no different to a question when you're on a date with a girl. She wants to find out more about you. She wants to verify that you're the real deal. So I disagree in that way that if a woman shit testing you, she's not fully invested. It's a pretext and a prerequisite for seeing if she wants to invest. So that's a green light. That's a good sign. And how you deal with that shit test determine how much more she invests in you. That's what I would say about that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's like sales, you know what I mean? If the prospect ain't doing anything, ain't saying anything, ain't got any queries, you've got to bring it up almost because you know that it's going to come up one way or another. So yeah, no, 100%. But at the end of the day, I think it's like it's just different context. Like everyone has learned game differently, and I think that's where we have to come in and be like, okay, well, there's definitely differences within learning it in this suburb, at this place. Like for us, Mr. Locario, like shit tests are a part of life. We get them from the day we're brought up, like from school, from everything. So from us in Australia, this is just what we have to deal with. So if we adapted that, that would be like us being still virgin. So we've had to like adapt. But then I've gamed in New York, so I can understand that sort of philosophy, and that's why I travel around the world, specifically because I've tried to mold my game on what works around the world and what are kind of the universal principles, and I can understand how different segments of the world you have to kind of mold and be a little bit of a chameleon in those parts for sure. 100%.
Yeah, I definitely agree with these guys. Shit tests are good, depends on your perspective. And I'm coming from a Asian, Eastern European background. If you're in Russia, girl's supposed to shit test you. She's gonna ask you like, why do I want to go out to go out to dinner with you, right? What's the point of that? What can you provide? And that's a good thing because in the beginning they might be a little standoffish, but they're gonna be, like you said, more submissive throughout the dating period. So it's actually a good thing because they want to make sure that you are who you say you are and that you are actually a confident person.